Today, we're talking about people furious that a school shooter on TikTok has gained 250,000 followers after going viral. Starting with, I'm gonna warn you, this is a nasty, messy story that has a lot of people infuriated. And at the center of it, you have the question of how does or can a person who did one of the worst things imaginable redeem themselves? And in this case, that person reportedly is an emotionally disturbed 16-year-old boy who we're gonna call Jay. I will not be showing his face or name because we have certain rules about certain types of people. So he was treated for depression and anxiety, according to his fellow students at a high school in upstate New York, with his behavior then worsening over the years until one spring he was barred from attending classes in person and given homeschooling instead. With him then returning to school in the fall, and classmates who knew him well a few years earlier said he was a dramatically different person. One girl saying he just became more of a freak, he was depressed, and he just didn't care because he lost all his friends. With that then bringing us to February of 2004, when Jay stepped inside of his high school carrying a pump-action shotgun, with him later claiming that his intention wasn't to kill, but to be killed, and that he only fired into the ceiling twice and waited for the cops to arrive. But we'll never really know for sure what he was actually planning to do because an assistant principal tackled him from behind, and as they were wrestling, the gun went off a third time, hitting a teacher's leg. Now, luckily, that teacher survived, was treated at the hospital and released, but Jay was convicted for attempted murder, and he spent the next 17 years in prison. With him also writing a letter to the Albany Times-Union about a year into his sentence saying, "It was the worst mistake I ever made, and now I want to make sure others don't make the same mistake." And adding, "It was said that I studied Columbine and was trying to repeat it. That's just ridiculous. Plenty of things were said by the DA that were ridiculous, like that I wasn't sorry. I prayed for all those who were affected on that day. I've apologized to many and been forgiven by many more." And then, after serving his sentence in 2020, he walked out. But actually, that is where the controversy begins, because he then hopped on TikTok and began preaching his message, with him advocating for better mental health care and stricter gun control, arguing that there needs to be more focus on the emotional mindset people are in when they do bad things, right? And essentially positioning himself as this so-called reformed school shooter who's dedicating his life to fixing the issues that drove him to do what he did. And by doing that, he's actually racked up over 250,000 followers on TikTok. But now, as he's gained more and more attention, a lot of people strongly believe he does not deserve to have this platform, with him saying he's exploiting his disgusting past for clout and building a huge following off of the suffering of others, and arguing that if he really cared about preventing gun violence, he would work quietly behind the scenes and not do it through social media fame.
There is need for reconciliation, but there's also things that someone can do that there is no reconciliation for. It is so rare for somebody to actually admit that they did something wrong and then to unpack that, and that is not what this guy is doing. Because I just don't think that you can unpack walking into a school with the intent to shoot children ever.
Some have also accused Jay of only caring about the mental health of young white men because they say he doesn't talk about the ties between white privilege and supremacy in school shootings. With him there pointing to a video in which he tells a story from last year about how a black man attacked him with swords at a homeless shelter that he worked at. Right? According to Jay, the man who left him badly injured called him the white devil, and Jay used this to show that you can be racist toward white people. So now Jay's disabled the comments on his TikTok, but he's still been defending himself in videos and in statements to the media, with, for example, him telling Insider, "I can never undo what I have done, the pain and trauma that I have caused upon so many, but I am working toward preventing others from experiencing that same pain and suffering." And adding, "My goal is not redemption for the school shooting I committed. My goal is prevention of other school shootings." But again, you have people saying this is all a smokescreen, it's a ruse, arguing that he's showing radicalized people, hey, you can be a school shooter and there's light at the end of the tunnel. You can use it as a way to gain online fame if you just say you've repented. But ultimately with this situation and news, I now want to pass the question off to you. Where do you stand on this? Right? What are your thoughts on it in general? But also, should he have this platform? Yes, no, why not? I'd love to hear from you.